Hey there, it's good to see you. Are you ready for another Get Ready With Me using the shade Candied Violet? Today is going to be a very pastel look. I'm so looking forward to sharing this with you because it's a look that I love, that I am having a lot of fun with, especially now that we're past Easter. And it's a way to make a very, very dark palette like this a lot more wearable to reflect some of those spring trends. So as far as things you're going to want to shop your stash for today, I've shown you these are the colors that I have on my eyes. What you're going to want to reach for is something like Champagne Truffle to highlight with, a lilac shade. Today I used the Too Faced Sugar Pop palette with the shade Strawberry Ice. But if you don't own this palette, another great alternative is if you picked up the Becca Amethyst or Prismatic highlighter in the shade Amethyst. That works just as well all over your lid. And then I'm popping a mint shade in my inner corner. If you don't have a mint shade in your collection, something you might want to look for the next time you're in Ulta is NYX Mermaid. That is a fabulous choice. And then I've got the Candied Violet shade. And then over here, I wanted to go with more of a soft, feminine matte purple in my transition area. I went on and used my LORAC Mega Pro palette with the shades Lilac and Wisteria mixed together. But if you do not own that particular palette, it is a very translatable color in other purple palettes that you own. So if you have the, just for example, if you have the It Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette or the Romantic palette, there are two particular purples in there that you could use that just give you a soft feminine eye. Or if you have the Laura Mercier Artist palette, or if you have the LORAC Pro 2, you can very, very gently use Plum in your transition area, since that color does have quite a bit of saturation, so just very gently apply it to your eye. You will be good to go. So if you like this very springy eye look, go on and have fun with it. I hope that you have a blast shopping your stash. The other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of color is liner. You can go a lot of different directions with this particular eye look. I chose to go with more of a blue, a lighter blue, so that it doesn't leave my eyes looking really bruised, but it still makes the brown pop. So if you have, this is a Bare Mineral shade, but you can go through, I was thinking about it, the new LORAC Cosmetics Pirates of the Caribbean palette had a blue that really got me thinking about it. Or the LORAC Brunch palette, you could go with a teal liner. If you picked up the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette, or if you have blues in other collections. I'm trying to think if there's blues in these It Cosmetics palettes that would be really pretty, not necessarily in the Romantic. I think there's one in the Naturally Pretty. Yes, you could even go through with Midnight and just very gently apply it on your lower lash line. So very easy, really easy to recreate a look. And I'm using everything that I'm currently panning, including the blush that I'm finishing up for the Love of Panning Challenge, and that update's coming soon. So have fun with it. I can't wait to hear all about how you have recreated it with what's in your collection. So let's go on and get into the Get Ready With Me. All right, here we go with another look with the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, kind of focusing on Candied Violet yet again. So first thing I'm going to do, per usual, I went on and primed my eyes with the LORAC Behind the Scenes Eye Primer, and then I'm going through with this fluffy concealer brush from e.l.f., and I'm just taking the shade White Chocolate from our Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette to just dust all over the eye area. If you're not using the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, go on and use any matte cream, or you can even use a white shade out of your collection. So just very gently, I'm going to run this across my entire eye to give my base something to stick to, and it's also going to help make the Candied Violet shade a little bit easier to blend out later. So here we go with White Chocolate. And then what I'm going to do, since this look is very, very pastel based, the shade that I'm using on my lid does not show up very well on its own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take any white base out of my collection. This happens to be the NYX Jumbo Eyeshadow Pencil in Milk. If you don't own the NYX Jumbo Eyeshadow Pencil, if you have a white eyeliner, it works just as well. So I would suggest anything really brightening as a shadow base, just to kind of amp up that lilac purple under your frames if you're a glasses wearer, or just to give it more of a punch if you're wearing the eyeshadow look with contacts, or if you don't need prescription lenses. So What I'm going to do is just run this over my eyelid. I'm not going to worry about blending it in because leaving it a little bit more stark will help that lilac shade to show up a little bit better. And then you can take your favorite lilac shade out of your collection. Today I'm going to be working out of my Too Faced Sugar Pop palette that came out, was it last summer or the summer before? It looks like so, but if you don't have this particular lilac shade, this one is Strawberry Ice. You can also use, if you picked up the Becca a prismatic highlighter in the shade Amethyst, it works really well as well. Or if you have the Kat Von D Mi Vita Loca Remix palette, the shade Muse is another lovely, beautiful shade. So feel free to go in with any kind of lavender, lilac shade. It can be matte, it can be shimmery, whatever you prefer. And basically I'm going to go through with this e.l.f. C brush. It's just a very flat shader brush. I'm going to tap it into Strawberry Ice or your preferred lilac shade. And then I'm going to tap this over that white base all over the lid. So just go through and see how it's really showing up now, especially on camera. You can see how lilac this shade is. It's very, very hard to pick up those tones of color when I don't use a white base. It's really unfortunate about shades like this, but it's a common problem because when you're trying to work with a shade this light, especially on a fair skin tone, it's very hard to get those colors to pick up unless you use a white or even a black shadow base below it. You can really kind of give it a different effect using the black, or you can even use like a matte charcoal base, but to get it like very springtime, white is going to be a lot easier for you to work with. So there we go. Just kind of layer it up to your preference. I kind of like to layer it up a little bit more because I've got my glasses going on top, so I want to make sure that it's visible. And there you go. Because I know, like, even if you don't have the Sugar Pop palette, I was looking at that Becca Prismatic Amethyst highlighter, and I kept thinking to myself, it really does look a lot like this shadow, so it makes me very excited to pull for this palette. Or if you have any of the pastel palettes that have come out recently, if you picked out the LORAC Brunch palette or another palette, well, no, it's too dark in that one, but you could mix the white shade from the Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette with a purple to kind of get more of the same effect as well. But you're going to have to kind of work with it a little bit since that purple is a little bit more dark. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my LORAC Mega Pro palette. I want to have a matte purple transition area, not heavy, but not too light. So the colors I'm going to use, I'm going to mix lilac and wisteria together to give me a really easy matte purple to go in the crease. If you do not own the LORAC Mega Pro palette, you can also go in with something like the IT Cosmetics Romantic Eyes palette or Romantic palette. The shade in there called Enchanting is a very similar tone, or you can lightly apply Plum from the LORAC Pro 2 palette. I mean, very lightly apply it because that shadow is more intense. Or if you have the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette, the shade I'd be thinking in there is go in with Violet. Would be a nice transition shade as well that will give you a very similar effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Bare Minerals flat shader brush. I'm going to mix it in between the two purples. Knock off the excess. That shadow is quite powdery. And then I'm going to just run this through my transition area. And like I said, if you're opting for other purples in your collection, as long as you lightly apply it, you're going to get a very similar effect. So it's not really a big deal if you're going with something that's warmer toned versus cooler toned or whatnot, because you're really, the shade is all about toning down Candied Violet. You're not going to really see it kind of standing alone. So you don't need to be super precise with the color that it ends up coming out. Just kind of do like a matte purple in your crease as long as it's more neutral, a little more subtle. So just kind of run that through your transition area. and then you are good to go. Because the other thing that's really helping to tone this down is that white chocolate shade as a base. It's making it a lot easier to blend these out, so it's a little bit more seamless, soft, feminine, and pretty. And then what I'm going to go through and do next, I'm going to use 2 different highlighting shades, and all I'm doing is I'm just taking this hair donut to kind of switch the colors. If you have a color switch apparatus, whatever that thing is, kind of the same thing as a hair donut. I use a hair donut. But I'm going to go through with a mint shade on my inner corner, and then I'm going to use champagne truffle on my brow bones. So basically, to amp that up again, I'm going to go through with my NYX Jumbo eyeshadow pencil again in milk. I'm going to run this through my inner corner just to make that mint shade pop. And it doesn't need to be huge in the area, just enough where you're going to catch that mint sheen when you're looking straight ahead and when you're looking off into the side. It's a very, very pretty, subtle way to do it. And then the mint shade I'm using is coming out of this palette I made, I bought the palette off of Etsy. The shop is called Another Soul. I will link her in the description box below. Another fabulous shop on Etsy I love to buy from, in addition to Lotus's shop. But I'm going to go through with this mint shade from Bare Minerals. If you do not own a mint shade, something that you might look for is NYX Mermaid. If you're going through Ulta, or if you have any other mint shadows in the rest of your kind of summery palettes, or if you picked up the brunch palette, that really minty shade at the top, even though it's matte, again, would be really, really pretty. So what I'm going to do is go through with the Sonia Kashuk flat shader brush, tap off the excess, and then I'm going to stamp this on top of that NYX Jumbo eyeshadow pencil. And you see how brightening it is to have the mint to the lilac to the purple. I love how this combination works together. So I'm going to go through and do the other side. Like so. And this look is so fun for spring. You can wear it with all sorts of different lip colors. If you want to go pink, glossy, purple, you can even go deeper. You can do a My Lips But Better. You can do whatever you want, and it is going to be awesome. So there's that mint shade. And then what I'm going to go through is just kind of take off the color with this hair donut. And I just picked this hair donut up from Walmart. No big deal. But I took all the color off, and then I'm going to go through with my Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette with the shade Champagne Truffle at the bottom. Tap off the excess to get rid of some of that glitter, and then I'm going to just run this on my brow bone. Make that super easy. And one of the things that I love about doing this as well is tonight I plan to go out with some friends. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to amp up the outer third of my eye with a really deep matte purple, so it's more evening appropriate, and then I don't have to worry about changing up my makeup completely. That's one thing, like once I do my makeup for the day, I kind of like it to be done for the day. So going back through just to make sure those are nice and touched up. And then for the star of the show, let's go through with your favorite crease brush and go in with Candied Violet. So this is a Revlon crease brush for me. I'm going to go on and tap it into the Candied Violet shade. Knock off the excess to kind of kick off some of that glitter. And then I'm going to stamp it as usual into my outer corner and then blend it up on top of that purple transition shade. I love how this comes together. So, so fun and pretty for an everyday look. And perfect now since we're after Easter and we want to go with more springtime makeup. I love how this goes together. And even with the blush that I'm going to pair with it, it makes it really easy because I'm going with a berry tone blush, but you can also do a soft pink, or if you're more of a fan of a nude colored blush, or you can do a brighter cotton candy pink. You can go lots of different directions with this and make it to your preferences if you're trying to pan specific makeup items, or if you know your taste and you want to use only the products that you love. So there we go. All right, eyes are done for the moment, and basically what I want to do is go through and clean up the fallout. Now, as far as liner, you can go a lot of different directions with this. Yesterday, I wore it with a solid black eyeliner. If you really want a springtimey look, you can take a solid black eyeliner and set it with the Candied Violet shade to give you a really strong purple. On your upper lash line, you can go with a navy eyeliner. You could go with a teal eyeliner. Like I said, anything is pretty much open to you, or if you want to do subtle brown. So basically what I'm going to go through and do today is I'm going to go on and use kind of a felt pen eyeliner, but I'm going to do it off camera since I have to get in pretty close to my mirror, and then I'm going to set it with the Candied Violet shade to give me a really strong purple. So I'll be back in just a second. All right, we are back. As you can see, I've gone through with a black eyeliner, and then I went on and set it with the Candied Violet shade to give me a really smoked out purple. It's an easy way if you don't want to have a lot of liners accumulated in your collection. Best thing to do is just take your favorite black eyeliner and set it with whatever shadow you're trying to get the color of. So if you want a strong teal liner, go through with a deep teal shade like Urban Decay's Loaded over a black liner, or a navy liner. Take some navy shadow over your black pencil, and you can easily start shopping your stash and getting some further use out of some eyeshadows if that's what you're looking to do. So basically what I'm going to do now is take a brightening eye pencil, and I'm going to very quickly line my waterline just to give me a little bit more of a brightening effect with this super bright eyeshadow look. Or you can use a white, you can use a cream, you can use a beige, whatever you prefer. And then I'm taking this very small eyeliner brush from e.l.f. and I'm going through with a bright blue eyeshadow. This one again happens to be from Bare Minerals, but you can use any kind of bright blue that you love from your collection. So if you have some of those L'Oreal Infallible shadows, there's a really beautiful shimmering blue that's on the lighter side. Or if you have a favorite palette that has a lighter blue, this looks really stunning if you have brown eyes. And it's light enough that you're not going to look bruised if you're worried about mixing the blues and purples on your eyes, because I know that can get a little heavy if we're not careful. So basically all I'm going to do is just line the outer third of my lower lash line with the shadow to give me a very light, subtle effect. You could even go in with Blueberry Swirl from your Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette if you want. It's a little bit stronger than what I typically want with something this pastel. So again, if you go with a lighter blue, you might like it a little bit better as well, because it really reflects those very light pastel tones. Or you could even go with a kind of a mermaid teal, and that'll really bring out the mint in your inner corner. I just love how bright, springy, and fun this look is when it comes together. All right, so eyes are essentially done for the moment, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to go through with some bronzer. I'm just about to finish my IT Cosmetics CC Plus Radiance Ombre bronzer, so I'm going to go on and bring that out. It's just an easy shimmery bronzer, or you can stick with a solid matte. I know, like, with a look like this, shimmery bronzers work really well if you're trying to use one up out of your collection, just because it kind of brings everything together and gives you kind of an ethereal mermaid effect. And the other thing you can do is, if you own that Becca Amethyst highlighter, you can go through and use that as your highlight with this look too. That'd be really pretty. Since I'm trying to pan my chocolate bar palette, I'm going to go on and stick with my Champagne Truffle shade, because it's just easier for me to make sure that I'm getting the use out of it that way. But the purple highlight is stunning with this look. So I hope you have fun trying this out. It's very, very wearable. It's appropriate. You can tone it down. You can make it very subtle. And like I said, when I plan to go out with my friends tonight, I'm going to take a deeper matte purple shade from the Tarte Bon Voyage palette and just kind of very gently fill in that outer corner just to give it more of a smoked out, you know, blown purple kind of effect. And then for blush, I'm taking my Tarte Amazonian Clay Blush in Blushing Bride with my e.l.f. blush brush. I'm going to very gently tap this onto the back sides of my cheeks. I love how this blush really kind of brings out a little bit more of the purple. And then, tip that I always do is I take a fluffy eyeshadow brush. This one happens to be from Sonia Kashuk.
My first day.
All right, sorry about that. I wanted to make sure that my daughter was taken care of. But anyways, I go back through with a fluffy eyeshadow brush and just kind of very lightly dust a little bit of my blush into the transition of my eye just to bring a little bit more warmth back to that eye area. And because we're wearing purples and mints and blues today, the berry really complements those tones. And if you have dark eyes, this will help to make them stand out a little bit more. So I love doing this tip, and it helps me just, you know, get a little bit more use out of my blush on a daily basis. And then as far as highlight, I'm going to go through, like I said, with Champagne Truffle, but feel free to use a lilac highlight, or you can go back through with the sugared violet shade out of, what is it? Not sugared violet. Strawberry Ice shade out of that Sugar Pop palette, or whatever lilac shade that you are using today. You can use that as your highlight. But if you're doing like me, I'm going to go through with Champagne Truffle with this Real Techniques contouring brush, and I'm just going to very lightly dust this over all the areas that I typically like to highlight. And then you're going to be ready to go for an easy spring makeup look. All right, I'm going to go do some mascara, and then we'll come back on and talk some lip options. All right, makeup is done. I went on and set my face with a little bit of the MAC Fix Plus in my travel size bottle. As far as lips, like I talked about, you can go with a variety of different lip colors. Some of my personal favorites to wear with shades like this are Revlon Super Lustrous Lipstick in the shade Primrose, Bite Beauty's Pepper in the Amuse Bouche formula, or if you have a favorite nude pink, one of my favorites would be the NARS Lipstick in Cruising, just in their regular lipstick packaging. Today I'm going to wear the Revlon Super Lustrous Lipstick in the shade Very Hot because I want to reflect more of the purple tones. But like I said, you can go pretty much any direction you choose, or if you like a bright pink lip, or if you want to go with more of a deeper berry tone, you are free to combine whatever options that are your favorites with this particular look. Or you could even go with kind of a nudie peach lip if you wanted to go a little bit more peach with your blush. So like I said, today is going to be Revlon's Very Hot. This is one of my favorite lipsticks of all time. Or you could use MAC's Amp It Up would be another great choice. So this is basically the finished look. I hope that you have a blast shopping your stash. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. Have fun with it. It's a great way to take something extremely neutral like the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette and make it more springy and fun, because those shades tend to be so dark in that palette. So have fun with it. I look forward to catching up with you with some more Get Ready With Me. So I have a couple more that I want to post with ideas that I love with Candied Violet. The next one's going to be more of a gold focused with Candied Violet. So if you want to have some use out of Creme Brulee, stay tuned for that. And then pretty soon it's going to be updating time for everything. So have an awesome rest of your day today, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Catch you later.